the outgoing SACP General Secretary Dr. Nzimande is set to come back as the party's National Chairperson. He was nominated by the provinces at the party's 15th National Congress in Boksburg East of Johannesburg last night. Elections will start shortly, with the results of the national office bearers expected by noon. For more on the story, we now take you live to our reporter Ntlantla Kgatlhane, who now joins us. Thank you very much for your time, Ntlantla, this morning. So what can we expect with the announcement of the new leadership there?
Well, a very good morning to you, Mxolisi, indeed coming to you right here from Bayshore Hotel in Boksburg at the 15th SACP National Congress. The Congress has been happening for 4 days, and we saw yesterday, like you already mentioned, the nomination taking place. But quite interestingly, it looks like Solly Mapaila would be at the helm of the party, as you already spoken to there. It looks like also from the nomination they would also still love Dr. Nzimande to continue working for the party, but this time around as a national chair person. We know that Solly Mapaila was nominated, and his nomination rather was not contested. Nzimande is going to go head to head with Gwebs for the national chair position. The first deputy chair who was nominated, there are two people there, is Thulas Nxesi and Mlungelo Gcina. The second deputy Secretary General Secretary, who was also uncontested, was David Masondo. We also saw Joyce Moloi Moropa and Reniva Furi. You know, they will go head on head during the elections. But just to talk to us with regards to how nominations went and the processes of elections, it's Head of Communication for the SACP, Dr. Alex Mashilo. Thank you so much, Dr. Alex Mashilo. Just talk to us a bit more with regards to how nominations went, the feeling, the mood there, and how you guys do nominations here at the SACP.
The process of nominations in the South African Communist Party starts with a process of engagements and discussions. Provincial secretaries chaired by the Central Committee Secretariat come together representing mandates from below to hold discussions about the views coming from below on who they believe should be nominated for what position. That discussion is quite a lengthy process of discussion, and the reason why it is taking place is that it is part of what we call our inner party democracy. We don't just start by contesting one another. There is a formal process of discussions where reasons advance, names are given, and it is through that process where we can identify whether there is an uncontested position and whether there will be a position where there will be contest, and we will also know who will be involved in that particular contest. So that discussion took place before this Congress. It continued during the Congress, and it continued up until when it was noted that there will be the following uncontested positions and the following positions were declared contested. Nominations were submitted. What happened is that in the SACP, to qualify to serve or to stand for the Central Committee, you must have been a member of the SACP in good standing for 10 consecutive years. So with an unbroken record, and before you can serve in the Central Committee, you must have been a member of the Provincial Executive Committee of the SACP for at least 6 years, or of the YCL. And this process goes down because for you to be in the PEC or the Provincial Executive Committee of the party, you must have been in the District Executive Committee for a certain number of years, for 4 years. And to be in the District Executive Committee, you must have served in the Branch Executive Committee for at least 3 years. This mechanism is there to ensure that an an individual does not just arise yesterday and comes to the Congress. If you are a member in the SACP, you cannot even be a delegate to a national Congress for a period of 12 months. Only those who have been conferred membership, having completed their membership, having completed their interim membership period of at least 1 year, are allowed to be members or delegates to the party Congress. Indeed, there were nominations. Soli Mapaila, Africa, was nominated. There was no contest for that. And David Masonto was nominated for the second Deputy General Secretary. Blade Nzimande was nominated overwhelmingly for the position of the chairperson. Ntlantla Kgatlhane was nominated for the same position. The nomination did not go through because it did not meet the threshold of provinces for support. So to stand there, you must be nominated by one province and seconded by 3 other provinces other than the one nominating you. And the Young Communist League is the 10th province. However, in terms of the constitution of the SACP, you are allowed to be nominated from the floor. Comrade Ntlantla Kgatlhane was nominated from the floor, and he met the minimum threshold from the floor. So insofar as that position is concerned, there is Dr. Blade Nzimande and Comrade Gwebs, as he is known. And you have already mentioned the position of the Deputy National Chairperson, Thulas Nesi, and Nomalungelo Gina, the position of the First Deputy General Secretary, Madala Masuku, and Kolile Ngata.
So 400 people will participate on voting today. How long will that process take?
The number of voting delegates, including Central Committee members like myself, is just under 400. So it doesn't take long for 400 people to vote and for 400 ballot papers, positions to be counted. What will happen is that the Revolutionary Electoral Commission will, together with the technical team assisting the commission, manage the process of counting. Once the counting is done, they will be coming to the plenary to announce the result, and they will then open nominations for the entire Central Committee. In terms of the SACP constitution, the Central Committee of the SACP comprises a minimum of 35 members and a maximum of 40 members. So that is the next step we will be going to after the nominations for the national office bearers and elections are concluded and closed by the Revolutionary Electoral Position.
I guess one question that comes to one's mind is the question of, the role of SACP as the vanguard of the poor. We saw the president yesterday speaking highly of the former leader of the party, saying that he played a role. And, for many, even political analysts, they always comment with regards to SACP amongst the alliance being the one that hasn't had yet divisions within them. We saw also Dr. Blade Nzimande speaking to that, saying that, delegates, members of the SACP should refrain from that. We also saw that Mr. Mapaila, they're giving the report of the organization saying that, it's quite important to refrain from it, saying that, the divisions of the ANC looks to be spreading and it's quite a problem. As the vanguard of the people, going forward from today, what will you guys have in mind in terms of, addressing issues or that are faced by people? We know that also at some point SACP, people were lashing it, saying that, but in terms of, cost of living, where is the vanguard of the people?
Let us put matters into perspective. You work for unity, and how you design the organization and its processes, and how you design the organization's discipline and ethics determine the levels of unity, and it determines the outcomes. Like I said, and if I may repeat, in the SACP, we don't start by just nominating. There is a formal process of leadership discussion. There is a discussion. It is. So in other organizations, there is no discussion. The debate is left to factions outside of formal processes. It is factions that meet, that decide, and they meet at the ballot. In the party, the debate on leadership is not left to factions. There is a formal process led by the Secretariat. So maybe other alliance partners can learn something from this. Perhaps this can be the contribution of the SACP to unity in other alliance organizations. Now let us deal with the question of those who criticize the SACP. Some of them saying the SACP is not there. Remember that we are in a process of political and class struggle. As part of the political struggle, even when you exist, your adversary will come and say you do not exist. Let us give you an example. The SACP was the first political organization in South Africa to expose what we now call state capture, all of us. No one in this country used that characterization for the industrial scale looting that was taking place and which became systemic, all right? It was the South African Communist Party. But even when Dr. Nzimande put forward this perspective on behalf of the SACP arising from the Central Committee meetings of the party, there was opposition from some sections of the ANC who said there was no such a thing as state capture. The struggle then began between those who were saying there was state capture led by the SACP and those who were saying there was no state capture. The media and the SABC, as in this regard, used to report that the SACP says there is state capture and this other says there is no state capture. Today in this country, everyone, including the judges, talk about the problem of state capture. In fact, the SACP was the first political organization to call for the establishment of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into state capture. Even then, that call was rejected by all political parties in South Africa. It was only a year later when the former public protector, Advocate Thuli Matonzela, prescribed the establishment of the commission as a remedial action with the provision that the Constitutional Court, Chief Justice, be the one to select the judge. It was when others came. So we must recognize the contribution that the SACP has made under the leadership of its Central Committee with Dr. Nzimande as the General Secretary. We can give many other examples where the party brought everyone in South Africa into the vanguard, including those who don't like the party, who use the perspectives of the party to say this is the situation. And I have just given an example of how we exposed the existence of state capture and characterized it. From the beginning, we were saying this is corporate state capture, or it was the corporate capture of the state. That analysis was put forward by the SACP, not in the form of words, in the form of mobilization. And during that mobilization, Dr. Nzimande was fired from the cabinet, having led a march in Johannesburg demanding the commission to be established.
Sorry to disturb you. So amongst what you are saying, SACP really has an eye on identifying the ills that are happening in our government. And it poses the question, if you guys have talked about what you guys have already have been talking about, and some people have been encouraging for you to contest elections, then one would ask, why not contest elections?
The philosophy of the South African Communist Party is the philosophy of unity. It was through unity that we defeated the apartheid regime and established the current democratic dispensation. So the issues of elections are tactical questions. They depend on what is happening at a particular point in time. There are a not now but not never issues.
Thank you so much. Are you available to be the spokesperson?
I'm speaking to you now, having been deployed by the General Secretary of the party, Solly Mapaila. So when the party gives me the task, I will take the task, but I will not comment about elections.
Mkolisi, there you go. That was head of communication for the SACP, saying that, the elections went well. But with that being said, we know that the election process, is going to take place from now on. There's going to be an announcement. There will definitely be a press briefing. We also expect, like you already mentioned earlier, Solly Mapaila was uncontested for him, to give his first speech, as the leader of the party. With that being said, is back to you in studio.